Are there any changes to make to the minutes or any questions about the minutes? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, can you please call the roll?
Sure. Kapler,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Minutes are approved. Next is approval of the claims, with the first item being standard invoices in the amount of $1,198,920.18. Are there any questions on invoices? Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, on page 7 at the bottom, and I'll mention these in light of the year in review presentation that I watched. So the questions relate to both the claims and what was stated there. First up, let's see, third from the bottom, vet environmental engineering, Griffey demolition contract. James had mentioned this is finalized, so I'm just, the question for this one would be, is this indeed a final bill?
Yeah, this is James Hall, Environmental Programs. Mr. Raymond, it should be, we needed some more seed out there. Some of the seed didn't take over last year, and so we ordered some more seed to put down for this year, so.
Great, congratulations on that. One above that is the overcharges on copiers. Whenever I read those words, overcharges, I think of cell service providers and getting gouged. That's probably not the case here. I recognize that. But when I, watched the presentation and heard about our commitment and our paperless initiatives, commitment to reducing waste, it made me wonder, wow, I hope, maybe we'll never see one of these again, or maybe, because I don't understand what our overcharge arrangement is with Van Osdol and Farrar. So that would be just a comment, maybe if you could touch on that in the staff reports or now, that would be great. Either way is fine. And then above that, the COVID. So in the end of year in review presentation, that was brought out as, big accomplishment, sampling 8 different sites, up to 3 times a week, I think is what was stated. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But then I think about, wow, we never got any information, or at least at a meeting that I was at, about the results of those studies. So I'm wondering if just at some point you could give us something anecdotally or some little a scenario where that information was used and tell us about it and how that helped our city's decision makers, as was stated in the year in review presentation. So those are the 3 things from the claims that I just wanted to touch upon as related. And again, if at some point you could comment on the overcharges and how paperless would maybe have us never see one of those line items in our claims again. And then also on the COVID, if there is something you could share, I'd be very interested in hearing about that. I have 2 other items and I'll wait for staff reports to ask about those. Thank you.
I'll be happy to talk about the COVID stuff a little bit during staff reports, and then we've got some other information we can talk about.
All right, thank you. Any other question on the claims or on the invoices? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve standard invoices?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, please call the roll.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Invoices are approved. Next is utility bills in the amount of $33,285.31. Any questions on utility bills? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
And Latrina?
Kepler,
Yes?
Sherman,
yes,
Burnham,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Wire transfers in the amount of $519,260.19. Any questions or comments on wire transfers? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve wire transfers?
So moved?
Second.
And Latrina?
Beeman,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Parmenter,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Kepler.
Yes. All right, wire transfers are approved. Next is customer refunds in the amount of $22,744.37. Are there any questions or concerns on refunds? I actually had one question because the largest of the refunds includes refunds under water and wastewater funds for refunding a credit balance after leak adjustment. And I know that by statute, we're not allowed to refund leak adjustments or water use. And so I don't know if I'm reading this, whether this is a credit balance. Can someone tell me how that plays out? Is this a refund for a water leak?
Laura, which one is this, Laura?
I'll have to pull it. There was two that we were working on, so I'm not sure which one this is. I apologize.
Yeah, this is the Whittington Management one for $21,684.86. And I know we can refund for wastewater leaks, but I was under the impression we could not refund for water leaks.
We can refund for water in the event of a metering error or
Mhm.
another error that was made by us.
Mhm. Yeah, it just didn't say like an adjustment after a meter error. So,
Yeah, it says leak adjustment.
Can we take that one, separate that one out and take it up the next time after we look up the details on that?
that seems like that would be a good option.
Yeah, it says it's for a leak adjustment of 2,714 units. And I'm wondering if it just didn't get, someone put it in under water and wastewater, because it should be wastewater.
So it is a wastewater
Yeah.
units.
Yeah, they had a broken water line in their crawl space.
Mhm.
So,
I thought that's the one it was. So it was only a wastewater adjustment to my knowledge.
yeah, so I'm double checking right now that it didn't, I guess it wouldn't have been adjusted yet, but we'll make sure it's only wastewater.
Okay, so I guess we can say, is there a motion to approve customer refunds with the correction that the Whittington Management refund is just for wastewater funds? Is that an appropriate way to word that motion?
This is Chris Wheeler, and I say yes.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So is there a motion?
So moved?
All right,
Second.
and a second. All right, Latrina, please call the roll.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman,
yes,
Kepler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next item is the consent agenda. And for this, I will turn it over to Vic Kelson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here with our consent agenda for this week. It totals $27,348. The first item is to the Alliance of Indiana Rural Water Incorporated, which is $4,900 for training courses covering water distribution systems and exam preparation. Heflin Industries, $2,449. That's backflow testing for our plants and other facilities. The third item is to Commercial Service of Bloomington for $4,369, replacement of the second stage compressor at the service center. And then the last one is Hoosier Equipment Service, $15,630. That's for removal of 3 above ground storage tanks from the Monroe plant and recoating some storage tanks at Monroe and Blucher Pool. Is there any board member who'd like to consider any of these items separately? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, these items will be approved as recommended by staff. And hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thanks, Vic. Okay, next item is the request for approval of resolution 2021-05, which is bid acceptance for the plant roof replacements. And Brad Schrader will tell us about this. Brad?
Yes, hi, this is Brad Schrader with the Engineering Division. 2 weeks ago at the last meeting, we opened bids for the roof replacements for plants at both the Dillman Road plants and the Monroe Water Treatment Plant. And we're coming to you today with a resolution to award to Building Associates Incorporated. They were the low bidder and most responsive, and we also have worked with them in the past. I would like to make one note from last time, a correction when we talked about what the engineer's estimate. We're quite a bit off from the engineer's estimate on that one. So a couple notes on that. One, if we look at we separate out the water estimate. For the water, the estimate was $291,412. If you look at the deduct for using PVC roof, it now comes out to be $349,800. So that one is off. That one's about $50,000 higher than what the engineer's original estimate was. The other one was for Dillman Road, and that's where we had an estimate of $543,172, and it really came in closer to the $986,000. After a deduct, it came in at $900 and about $10,000. The primary reason for that difference was as they were designing the roofs and coming to do the changes, there were 2 air handler units on 2 different roofs that were non-functional, and it came out that what were we going to do with these? And it was decided they needed to be replaced. So not only were we replacing the roofs on 2 of the buildings at Dillman Roads, but we're also replacing large air handler units. And then what also came out of that was a lot of electrical work. When we looked at reconnecting the air handler units, actually electrical systems that fed them didn't work. So that raised the price $440,000 just for those air handler units. So that was the primary difference. We didn't apologize. We didn't get that put into the engineer's estimate. And so it made it seem like it really inflated. So with that, I just wanted to clarify that. I apologize again for the last time. We didn't have the estimate quite right. So again, we request your approval to award to Building Associates. It's $1,263,400. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Brad? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve resolution 2021-05?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Sherman,
Yes.
Eman,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes?
Parmitzer,
Yes.
Burnham.
Yes.
All right, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brad. Before we move on, I just want to let folks know who may be watching us on Facebook or in our Zoom meeting that at the end of the tonight's agenda, we will have time for petitions and communications from the public. And so please type any of your comments or public comment into the Zoom chat or into the comments on our Facebook live stream. All right, so is there any old business from the board? Any old business from staff?
None.
All right, any new business from the board? New business from staff?
Done.
All right, and I don't believe there are any subcommittee reports, is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
And so staff reports, Rick Kilson.
We've got a couple of things. The first one is we have some new hires. We have 3 seasonal laborers and a new member of the Flushing crew. Garrett Flynn will be the seasonal laborer at Monroe. Foster Tiller is the seasonal laborer for T&D, and Jack Branham will be the seasonal laborer at Dillman. So we welcome them for our summer field staff. And then Robert Reynolds has joined the Flushing crew in the environmental division. So he'll be helping maintain water quality in the distribution system by Flushing. The second item was to talk about the COVID sampling a bit. We have collected the data and we've got a dashboard. Actually, there is a dashboard that we've produced and we've talked about a little bit in the past. What we've seen in the last several months is that the numbers have been holding pretty steady and holding in a pretty constant range. We did have one very high sample at Dillman about 6 weeks ago, but it was not repeated. But we did have much higher numbers last summer and fall. And as you know, we began that program on our own before when people were first spinning it up, and we have former board member Bannock to thank for that. He got us looking into it early on, and then we had that going for a while, and then the Indiana Finance Authority started funding a program through 120water.com, and that's how we were able to expand our sampling program. I think James can back me up on this. We did the most samples and the most locations of any system in the state during that program, sampling at eight different locations. The funding for that ran out in December, and we decided to continue the program sampling just the wastewater plants once a week. And we've continued that just so there wouldn't be a gap in the data, in the hopes that there would be another externally funded program. And there is going to be a federally funded program as well that we've told IFA that we would, and 120 Water, that we would like to participate in that if we get the opportunity to. So up to now that hasn't come to pass yet, but we're still working on it. I'm happy to share the data. James, there is a publicly accessible dashboard for this. Is this true?
Yes, the data should be up on BeClear, and we're transferring it. We're transferring everything from BeClear over to the new system that's skipping my mind the name of it. So it may be down right now, or the BeClear data may not be updated, but I can give you access to a Google or Google Drive so you can see that.
Thank you. That's great.
And that's all I had. Mr. Eamon telegraphed that he may have some other questions.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the year in review, and I always enjoy those. It's a good encapsulation of kind of what we've gone through as a board, and hearing about the different projects incrementally, but getting them all in at one time, and understanding the highlights for the year, I think, and the new initiatives. It's always good. I was also interested in the status of the rate case, and in you guys talked about fleet efficiency, and I'm just wondering if there's any electrical vehicle commitments or anything like that similar to what the feds are looking at now. So just the floor is yours.
So as far as, I'll take the second one first. As far as electric vehicle commitments, we do look at electric vehicles where we can. We have a number of hybrid vehicles, especially I know the vehicle that I drive is a hybrid, and I believe Tom Axum and some others have got them as well. I think there's one in a pool vehicle that's a hybrid as well. We have looked, the city has actually purchased some Chevy Bolts that are used. They're up at Fleet, but those are can be purchased, and we have looked for opportunities to use those. But the places that we identified, we found existing vehicles or just simply we're doing without for now, which is even more energy efficient. As far as that, but we do pay close attention to that, and we're trying to use the most efficient vehicles we can whenever we're at it. The other question about the rate case is that we are in the data discovery phase of the rate case, and we've been handling multiple data requests from the Office of the Utility Consumer Counselor, from Indiana University, and from Washington Township Water, who have both of those last two have intervened in the case. So we are handling data requests. We expect those will proceed for a while, and then we're looking forward to meeting with OUCC to, on site. They will be around at some point in the proceeding to talk about their questions for us. So we anticipate that hearings would happen. Laura, am I right? September, is that right? I think is what we're talking about, after budget, right?
I believe that's correct. Mid-September, I think, were the dates that they had suggested.
So that's where we are.
Thank you, Vic.
Thank you, Vic. Okay, and now petitions and communications. And I see in the chat that Mr. Dylan Harris would like to talk about an appeal for a stormwater issue. And I'm sorry.
Sorry, I got my son's name on there. It's confusing.
Okay, thank you. Can you let us know your name and go ahead? And we will have 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Megan Harris. We currently live on Pine Meadows Drive. We were part of the Tappan Rockport project a few years ago. That's our backyard. So we recently started having a sinkhole occur in our yard. Originally, we reached out to Matt Smethurst, who was the engineer on that project, and he immediately said he thought it was related to the project and he was going to try and get it fixed. And then we had the utilities come out and they did the line, and they said that it's not part of the project and that it was just a bad pipe and it's a stormwater drain, and they say that we're liable for it after talking with, I think it's Brad Schrader. So that's what he explained to us. However, it is the only drain on the entire street. We're doing all the stormwater through our yard, and we never had any problems before they started driving over it with all that heavy equipment and everything. It's just something that we feasibly can't afford to dig up the whole yard, especially when they said that the new line that is part of the project is also problematic and needs to be dug up to begin with. So the new pipe and the pipe through our yard is damaged and needs to be replaced, and it's causing these sinkholes through our yard that keep getting worse with each storm. So we're just wondering what we can do, because feasibly for our family to do this and replace it when the only function of this pipe is the stormwater for the street, and we are the only private pipe in the whole neighborhood. And I'm not sure why, when all the other ones go through yards, why ours is listed as private when it was laid before the house was even built on the land. So we're just wondering what we can do with this issue, because currently the biggest sinkhole is about 4 feet deep, and it is very dangerous for the amount of kids we have running around the neighborhood, animals, all of that. We're worried about an injury happening on our property because of this.
Brad, I will take care of it. Take care of this. Can you reach out to my office tomorrow, and we can talk about it? I was not aware of this situation, but I can do some research and see what there is to do about it.
So you would like Ms. Harris to reach out to you tomorrow? Or
yes,
Brad?
please. Yeah,
okay.
Or if you can leave your contact information, well, don't leave it in the chat. Just
okay.
You can call my office, which is 812
Okay.
361-7370. You can call me there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for coming into the meeting tonight and letting us know what's going on.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
All right, very good. And Holly, are there any other comments on Facebook or in the chat?
No, there are not.
Okay, well then, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.